Smartest business minds. Level up with unedited original content in just 60 minutes. Bringing actionable advice and real stories. Ask all your burning questions on our truly live talk show with the guests who are at the top of their game. Are you prepared to be one of the most ambitious future leaders? Get inside Asia's smartest business minds. Tune in www.linkedpreneur.com.
Hi everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you on the show Linkedpreneur Stories. And today I have a phenomenal woman entrepreneur right from India with us who has dedicated the next 60 minutes to Linkedpreneur Stories just to come in and share her stories. How do I even introduce her? I mean, a digital influencer, one of the most popular one in India, and has started the largest Bollywood news company, MissMalini. So guys, if you don't know Malini Agarwal, you definitely know MissMalini for sure. I mean, both are just put an equal to sign to each other. Malini, it's a pleasure having you on Linkedpreneur Stories. We're so excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Khushbu, and hi to everyone who's watching. It's really wonderful to be here. I think the one thing that's happened with the pandemic is it's actually made the world much smaller. We're also connected through these sort of digital experiences, so that's quite nice.
Exactly. I mean, the little did we expect if we are not meeting, we could connect here. And this COVID times of the pandemic has made things a lot more easier for us. Thank you guys, for everyone who's joining us. I can see the comments rolling. Tell us from which part of the city, country you're tuning in and what you love about Malini the most in the comment section below. She loves it. We're going to show it in the screen. Absolutely. And guys, a big request. Share the video. Please go ahead and share the video because today she's going to share with us how she started as a blogger, as an individual. And today she's running $1 billion company. How did she make all of this happen? There are so many content curators and people who are into personal branding, but they don't know how to make it happen. And she has done it for herself. And today is the day when we get to know from her all the secret sauce. How do we do it for ourselves? Guys, your questions are very short. Make sure that you value the time. So share your questions, and if we love it, we're going to bring it to her. Till then, Malini, let's get started.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, Malini, absolutely. Equally, we are. I'm so excited. You can see it right on my face. I think, Malini, but before going forth, we are live on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And LinkedIn has always been super popular for all the corporate stuff. But Miss Malini has been in the corporate, but more so in the Bollywood and in the media space. It would be amazing if you can give a quick introduction to our audiences what Miss Malini is, since they're tuning in from all across the world, apart from India as well. So why not we hear it from you as?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the Miss Malini Entertainment brand has really changed over the years. I started off as a hobby blogger back in 2008. My background has always been in media. So I was with Channel V, I was a professional dancer, I was a radio host for many years. And the blog sort of took it went on its own very interesting organic journey. So it started off as a blog, like you said, about Bollywood. Then it turned into a digital magazine from a hobby blog. And then now, if you look at it, it basically is an entertainment hub and site. We create content for the Indian millennial, global millennial, in fact, across various platforms in various formats. So whether it's television, OTT platforms, podcasts, social media, we pretty much do it across various categories. And for us, we've actually made quite the evolutionary leap in the last 2 years, where we've gone from being just about entertainment content into trying to blend entertainment with social change, but in a way that is interesting and consumable and inspirational and attractive. So we kind of have married our Bollywood roots with something that I'm very proud of called Malini's Girl Tribe, which is a community for women, which is now just hit 50,000. It's just about 50,000. And I feel that the future that we're seeing today with the pandemic, especially, is this. It's community. It's content.
Wow, congratulations, Malini. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. I think it's just really been quite an experience and journey for me. I think people always ask me how it happened. It was such an organic thing, so it was never planned. But when I look back, I can probably point out that, okay, this happened, so that happened. But primarily we are a content company. We're looking at launching our own Girl Tribe app soon. So we're going to be a community as well. I don't want to call it a social media app. We're actually an unsocial media app, because we're getting rid of likes and followers and all of that and focusing on the people and, really making it about connections and community more than anything else.
So, Malini, I know you have started an initiative. Why don't you tell our audience about that? Because you just touched upon the Girl Tribe, which hit 50,000. Phenomenal as a number. Congratulations and kudos from the entire Linkedpreneur team, Malini. Tell us about the initiative.
Sure. Sorry, I put myself on mute when you're speaking because I think my dog is going crazy in the background, which is like what everybody is doing with the pandemic these days. So basically, I'll back up and tell you where the concept of the Girl Tribe started from. Is that I think this is probably true everywhere in the world, but especially in India, women have a really hard time on social media, online. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of trolling. There's deep amounts of sexual harassment. And I think all the girls who are watching, and I'm sure the guys know too, drop me a comment if you've ever gotten a creepy DM. And I guarantee that pretty much every single person watching has or knows someone who has gotten a creepy message. So just as we look at a pandemic and what we're living through right now that we're all affected by, social media anxiety, trolling, negativity, and harassment is a pandemic of Herculean proportions online that we have not even tried to find a vaccine for yet. So I guess in a sense, Malini's Girl Tribe is my attempt at a virtual solution to this problem. So what I've tried to do is create a space for women where, again, it's not about the likes or followers. It's about creating a safe space for women to really connect with each other. And it's really about, you're frozen for me, Khushbu. Can you hear me?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, sorry. I think there was a little bit of a glitch there. I don't know if I should keep talking. You're a little frozen for me. Can you guys hear us? Can you hear me fine? Drop me a comment if you are able to hear me. Thanks, Jyoti. I'm so happy you like the Girl Tribe. It's so nice when you have like real life comments jumping in. Sorry, Kushba, I think you froze for me for a second. Yeah, so basically the community has come from this ethos and place that people need a safer place online. And I would love to eventually create a tribe that has men and women both, because it's not men versus women. I know a lot of the gentlemen who are watching today represent positive masculinity. We have a community for positive masculinity as well. And I think it's really, really important that we focus on the fact that it's men and women versus bad behavior online. And I'm actually writing my second book on this topic as well, which is The Accidental Troll, which is really about how we were never equipped to deal with life online. as a child, you're taught everything, how to sit properly, how to say your please and thank you, and how not to interrupt people, and how to speak to your elders. We were never given any such education or um, sort of guidelines, and we assumed that we would behave online the way we do in real life, but that just did not happen, and I think we need to go back to the drawing board, especially considering that now with the pandemic world, all your education is happening online. You've heard instances of teachers being trolled by students. This is not something that would happen in day-to-day life. So I think this is where the germ of the idea came from, and I really hope that the Girl Tribe offers people that missing piece. I always say the purpose of social media was for us to create relationships and connections at a scale that's not otherwise humanly possible. I could be talking to one person one on one, like I am in this room with you, but still, there's so many people. I can see all these names. There's Ravi and Lee and Raja and Farooq who are part of this experience with me, and that's the beauty of the online world and social media. So I kind of want to take out all the bad stuff and keep the good stuff. That's the Girl Tribe.
Thank you, Malini, for taking care. I hope, guys, can you hear me? I'm not too sure because my internet had
I think
severe trouble.
back
This
now.
was the maximum I had
Yeah.
gone out of.
I think you're back now. So I
Awesome.
think
Thank
we're
you
good.
so
Yeah.
much. Okay, I could hear you, and everything that you said, what resonated as a female, as a women entrepreneur, both ways, as a girl, is also with.
Okay, I think Khushbu's having a little trouble with her internet. But what I'm going to do, Khushbu, is I'm going to pull up the questions you had for me. So in case you freeze, I can ask myself, which is always
Wow,
um,
I think that is
the
super amazing.
Okay,
That
we're
is
good.
super smart. I mean, Maladi, but just quickly jumping into one of the key things. Now, I have received some of the major questions coming from the direction of personal branding, where people are now starting with a mindset that I want to build a personal brand. As for what I know, you personally didn't think like that. All you wanted was to express what that was the start of your journey, and it led to something bigger where we are at today. But today, when you want someone to get started with personal branding and influence as a journey, what are your key takeaways from your own experience that you would like to give to the audiences here?
Yeah, I think that it's such a whole other world now. So when I was building, like you rightly said, I was building an influencer brand. There was no concept. I didn't even know I was doing it. I wasn't looking to make money. It was a hobby. And I think I'm quite lucky that that's how it happened for me, because today it's very different. Um, what's happened is that I'm very proud to have been part of that, new avenue and carving that path to careers in social media and entertainment and influencing. But today it's really turned into something else, and it's unfortunate that that happens in almost every industry, that when you see an exciting opportunity and everybody runs to it, everybody wants to do it. And this was the case when I was in, high school or college. Being a video jockey was the equivalent. Everybody wanted to be a VJ or an RJ. That was the cool job. And now it's being an influencer. I think the interesting thing is that what really sets good influencers apart are two aspects: is those who don't treat it lightly. You have to understand that being a quality influencer takes a lot of work, and making it look effortless is actually very, very difficult. And the influencers that I feel are really succeeding today are the ones that are real, authentic, relatable. There are a couple of influencers here who are just really killing it. People like Kusha Kapila. You've seen internationally people like Lily Singh. They are influencers that you wouldn't have expected to be popular by your traditional metric of a Bollywood celebrity per se. But it is that authenticity, it's that heart, the effort they put in that's really resonating. And as a result, they're going out and being very successful and making a lot of money. But they didn't start off that way. So my greatest advice to anyone who's looking to be an influencer is don't start off saying, okay, how much money am I going to make? What brands can I go talk to? Because the whole definition, by definition, an influencer is someone who has an impact or has an influence on a certain community of people for a reason. They love you for a reason, right? And it's the same for you as a person. You, Kushbu, are an influencer with your circle of family and friends, and they love you and will take your advice because they have a certain feeling towards you. This is the same thing that applies to influencers. So you have to first identify, who do you stand for? What are you? What is it that you are influencing people about. There's an amazing video that I saw, and I think I played it when I was at the social media week with you guys, where there's a great video where he talks about, everyone talks about being an influencer, but have you ever thought about what kind of influence you are? Influencing doesn't always have a positive connotation, right? When you're driving under the influence, you're not necessarily doing something good. When you have influenza, you're not feeling well. So think about when people come to your feed, are they leaving feeling better or worse about themselves? And that's a really good benchmark, I feel.
I remember that, and it was such a phenomenal video. I remember so many people could even resonate that the idea of authenticity, which very well highlighted, along with identifying the niche or who are you serving to, or who you're working, or who you are trying to help to with your brand, is one of the key things here. But let's say Malini, just going a bit more on the detail side of it, where you're building a personal brand for yourself. Here we have some basic problems as well, where people get too desperate, or they are too, I would say, impatient, because what you are today, it took you years to get here, and it didn't happen overnight. You had lines of failure. I would love if you can actually share one of the stories which was close to, like, I can't do this, or it's kind of a give up time, or it's feeling like enough is enough. That moment, have you had any such of these moments? Because the audiences just feel can resonate and can build that patience from there.
Absolutely, I have. And I think everybody has. And you're so right. Every overnight success has taken 12 or 10 years to be made. There's no such thing. And, people always used to think that my job was to go to parties and take pictures. And I was like, I wish it was that simple. It takes a lot of work, and I think that's true for anyone. Just because you see the final result, you might at a fashion show or a movie or a theater performance see the final production, but it takes so much effort and so much time and so much blood, sweat, and toil behind it. So it's definitely taken that for me. I think the learnings for me have been kind of interesting. I think there are two stories I can tell you that probably had the most impact. One was when I was shifting careers from radio. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And there was no concept of blogging. I mean, I was doing radio before Facebook existed. Just think about that for a second. I have lived part of my career when there was no such thing as social media. It was a whole other world. And it always makes me think about it. And I was like, so on radio, that was the closest I came to having a connection with a large number of people, or being an influencer as a radio jockey. And I loved it. And I learned so much from that experience, because I learned that even though millions of people are listening to you, every single person has a very personal experience with the radio jockey, right? Which is why we all think our favorite radio jockeys are really good looking, because in the theater of our mind, we have pictured them a certain way. And I tried to take that ethos to the blog, that, okay, I'm going to write my blogs as letters to one person instead of to the whole world. But when I quit radio, I didn't know that I was going to start blogging. I didn't have a plan. I left it because I'd been doing it for 9 years. And I thought, okay, now I need to progress in my career. I was the programming director. And I remember the last day I put my faders up of 9 years, and I played like this emo Bollywood song called Wo Chali by the Bombay Vikings. I remember being genuinely really sad, thinking that the best point in my career, or the most enjoyable part of my career, is now over. And now I'm going to have to do a serious job to pay the bills, and it's never going to be the same. And I remember being deeply upset about this. And then all of this came along. And had I never left radio, it wouldn't have. And I think one of the great lessons that it taught me is taking those risks and letting go. And I think without fail, it's always happened. We always worry that if we let go of something, what if something doesn't come along? And it's cliche as it sounds, when you close a door, God opens a window. You know what I mean? It just is the way it is. The second lesson I learned has really had a huge impact, and probably been the reason for things like my Girl Tribe, the online campaign we started called Ignore No More Online, which I'll tell you about against social media sexual harassment. It was that when I started out, people think, okay, Malini, wow, you write positive content, everything is so hunky-dory and happy shiny. It wasn't always like that. When I started out, I was a straight up Bollywood gossip blogger, and I thought it was perfectly fine. Everyone did it. I was just taking the concept of writing gossip from magazines into a virtual space. And I would write it too. You'd hear a rumor and you would blog it, and you would get a lot of views. And then I realized that, and that's why my book is called The Accidental Troll, because I thought of myself as a good person. But suddenly I was behaving in a way online that I never would in real life. I would never say things like this. It's just that this social media world and the internet had given me a free pass to behave in a way I never would in real life. And so then I made myself a new rule that said, I'm never going to write anything I can't say to somebody's face. And it sounds quite simple, but if you apply that to anything that you do online, whether you're leaving a comment, whether you're writing an email, and think, is this how I would do it if I was face to face with someone? You will realize how differently you'd behave. Not to say that in real life we don't gossip, but here, what we're doing online is we aren't just saying something behind someone's back to someone, telling a
Right.
funny story like, "Oh, guess who they're dating." You're in front of everyone, making a comment about them, and they can see it. And you must keep that in mind. Then would you do it in real life?
Absolutely. That's a very, very strong and a simple lesson, but not that easy to implement, Malini, as simple as it sounds, because there's so many people, they write things. Even we know that there are a lot of trolling that happens from the fake profile, which easily explains that you can't say someone right on the face, and that's the reason you have a fake
Yeah.
name to it. And I know the story because last time when we met last year in Malaysia, I remember you sharing about the fact that how you transitioned from the whole concept. And it takes a lot to owe up to that as well. Kudos to you, Malini. Seriously, deepest kudos to owe up and then spread this positivity, always talking about making sure of right mental health, the idea of digital detox, and all of things are such an amazing things that you have always preached about. And I'm so sure about it. But with this, just sharing a quick hi to some of the friends on the live, as I can see. I have Manisha Siwal. Hi, Manisha from Carol, Singapore. It's nice to see you. She was one of our speakers in the previous
Oh, nice.
episode. And at the same time, I see Ronald as well. Hi, Ronald. He's from Apps Flyer, tuning in from Thailand. I hope you guys are enjoying. Tell us a question for Malini, and I would be super happy to bring it to her. It's so amazing to see all of you guys here. Hi, Sahib, Rakesh, Ravi, Tamanna. Hi, guys. Nice to see you. Share a question soon. I'm going to start the audience round. But before that, Malini, as we go deep into your story of how it happened, of course, you've shared certain things which involve learning and then transitioning and then adapting. How about we get into a quick rapid fire just to bring in a little bit of adrenaline momentum? Are you ready for that?
Absolutely. Rapid fires are my jam. So go for it.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it. I hope I can do as good as you because your lives I love.
I usually get to ask the questions, so I'm a little nervous about answering them, but let's do it. I think she's slightly frozen, so I'm going to say a couple of highs till then. Hi, Michael. Hi, Jatin. Thanks, Ravi, for your message. Srinivas, Tamanna, thank you so much. I'm so glad that resonated with you. Hi, Sanya and Yansha from my team. Hi, Jatin. Hi, Yash. I was saying some highs until you come back in. There you go. Okay, there we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry for all the
No
internet trouble. I've just switched again to another network and I hope this can be more stable. Before, as I was saying, let's get into the rapid fire. It's going to be
Good.
super exciting.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
okay, awesome. We are ready. Let's get started with the rapid fire, which is from your den. We got to know and discover Malini than what she is, and she's shared more than that. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
3 websites that you spend the maximum time on.
Well, I have to spend a lot of time on my own, so MissMalini.com. I really like this website called StraightDope.com, where you can ask any question and they'll have the most random things, like why do pigeons, why do their necks move like that? Like really, really, really random things. I like stuff like that. And I follow the NASA website because I'm a huge nerd. So,
Oh my God, none of us knew that. Okay,
yeah. I was thinking, your logo for Linkedpreneur has a rocket on it. And I don't know if you could see it. I have a rocket here.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
I always say to the moon. I'm really obsessed with outer space. So.
Oh, that's amazing. We discovered something new. A mentor in your life that means a lot.
Oh man, I've had so many incredible mentors. I think that one that has always made a big difference to me is someone called Mr. Ashok Korean, who is actually now my best friend's dad, who's always really believed in me from the beginning. He always like even offered to invest in my company when I started the blog. And, I think people who build up young minds who don't have a network yet or don't have the money or the means, but have the passion and recognize that and tell you that you have what it takes are the ones that really are the heroes.
I think, Malini, I completely relate to that because I'm currently in that age, and I feel that the people who believe in you and they say, I'll just go ahead and support because I see a vision and a passion to be able to go with a purpose is phenomenal. It gets me goosebumps.
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us one thing. You travel. You love to travel. What's one place that definitely going to be on your list next as soon as this pandemic gets uplifted?
So yeah, it's still on my list. My March 2021 goal is to go see the Northern Lights.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm dying to see them, and I want to stay in one of those glass igloos and look up at the lights.
Oh my God, that's going to be phenomenal. How about one thing that you're super proud of in your life?
I think right now I'm super proud of the Girl Tribe. I feel that it is what I was meant to do. It only took me 43 years to find it. I think that it's really been the most rewarding and meaningful thing I've done in my life. There's a great concept called Ikigai. I'm sure you know the Japanese concept. And, I always had three pieces. I always knew what I love to do, what I'm good at, and what I can be paid to do. But I finally got the fourth piece. What does the world need? And that's where the magic happens.
Wow, Malini. And I'm so glad. Guys, I want to bring your attention to one small thing, which just Malini said it in a flow. It took her 43 years. So it just takes time, you realize your ikigai to say, or you realize your passion over a period of time, which shouldn't stop you from doing, from acting. Just keep on performing. Just keep on working towards your goal, which you have at this point of time. Automatically things will evolve and fall in place. As you just mentioned about your radio jockey story. Getting back to the rapid fire, a book that you will give to your best friend. Will that be your own book?
Well, I mean, I think that my best friend better have bought my first copy of my book. There's a book that I love, and it's kind of a cheesy one, but it's called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I just love it because of its twist of phrase. It's so funny and it's so interesting. There's another one called Still Life with Woodpecker by Tom Robbins. I love to read. And I love this quote at the beginning of it by Kafka that says, you don't have to do much for the world to open its heart to you. You can sit really still at your desk and the world will roll in ecstasy at your feet. And very often people worry about living their best lives. We forget, and I feel, Khushbu, so often we get so caught up in the technicalities of work and money. This is not what we're here for. And I think the pandemic has made that abundantly clear, that we're here for 0 to 80 to 100 years. And our purpose is really to, quote another line, to love and be loved in return, the greatest thing you'll ever learn, from Moulin Rouge. But it's not necessarily romantic love. It's really about loving what you do and loving the experience and the people you meet. And I think these books kind of make that point well, that what's really important is the emotional growth that you have on the journey in this. I don't know how many people watching believe in reincarnation. I kind of do. That your soul, travels, whether or not it reincarnates, but it travels, and we are all old souls in a process. So rather than collecting money and things, collect experience and wisdom. That's, I think, our purpose.
I think that's priceless at the end of the day. That's the whole reason why we started Stories, to be honest. It's about bringing experiences of other people so that they can learn from it and they can just grab what they should implement for their life. Tell us the last Netflix show you were watching.
So I just watched a show called Masaba, which is so much fun. You must watch it. I was so impressed because I didn't know what it would be like, and it's always very tough to make that transition. But she has done an incredible job, and I think a lot of people will recognize her mother, very famous Neena Gupta, from previous Indian soap operas. And it's just really fun. It's a great stab at being irreverent about the whole socialite page 3 fashion culture in India. They've done a great job.
Absolutely. They did a great job. I'm halfway through it and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And animal that you resonate with?
Well, I used to really resonate with unicorns. I know that's not a real animal, but
oh my God, I have to tell you, until now in the show, it's 36th episode. No one has said that, and you're the first. That's the animal I resonate with the most.
Really? That's awesome.
So
That's
it's
high
not
five.
really it's a little frictional, but I don't know why it's the unicorn that comes to my mind every time I think.
Apparently, it's the official animal of Iceland, or I like there is. I've heard something like that, some fact like that.
Okay, that's amazing. Being a women entrepreneur, give us one advice that you would like to share with everyone, irrespective women or men.
So, I mean, I think that, like you said, it doesn't need to be women versus men as an entrepreneur. I think that the most important lesson I have learned um, is how to be a good listener. I think what happens when you are the boss is you start delegating and giving people a lot of information. And I've learned this by making my mistakes. Is people will feel afraid to respond. They will be afraid. They'll feel they have to listen to you. But the teachers that inspired me the most are the ones that asked me what I think. And you never learn anything if you keep talking. And there's a big difference between listening and waiting for your turn to speak. And most people do the second. And I used to do the second. And I'm trying very hard to do the first now.
Wow, wow, that's a very big lesson. It's a difficult one to implement for the ones who have been in a decision making position for a very long period of time. But yes, it makes a huge impact if you're a good listener. With this, Malini, I'll just ask the final question of this rapid fire: is one dream you want to fulfill in life?
Wow. So my dream one was to write a book, which I did, and I'm working on my second one, and I really hope I finish it before the pandemic. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stay in lockdown beyond everyone else. I think I've always really wanted to do my own Oprah-esque show. I want to make a show for the Girl Tribe about women, for women, make it fun. So fingers crossed that happens one day.
Malini, good luck to you, because it's one of our dreams to even, I mean, I phrase it in this manner, when we started Linked on a series, we want to take it to Netflix. I mean, that was one line to the dream. So I so relate with that passion that it took me 10 seconds to just digest what you said and take a feel of it. I really wish you can make it this happen, because you're already so close to it and we all can feel it, Malini. With this, a quick wrap to our rapid fire, and you did phenomenally well. Nothing rapid happened, guys, but we actually got a lot of inputs and a lot of insights about Malini. Didn't know she loves the galaxy so much.
Yeah, I really do.
Yes, absolutely. With this, Malini, let's quickly jump into the big question, which we are covering, of course. You started film blogging, right? And you went to what, $1 million company. Now, as an individual, to a company setup is absolutely a different thing. When you write as an individual, you are responsible for yourself. But soon you grow your company, you have people working for you, you have investors, you have partners, co-founders, and to see your life partner is also your business partner. So that's a different that brings a different level of momentum in the business also. Share that side. How did that transition work out for you? How did you make it possible?
Working with my partner, working with my
Yes.
husband.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And at the same time, I would also want to highlight the transition from individual to a team.
yeah. So the thing about when I started off, it was an individual job, absolutely, and then I got one or two assistants, and then it started to grow. And before I knew it, there's 65 employees, and it takes a toll, because during the pandemic, when you're suddenly responsible for so many lives, what do you do? So it's a completely different ball game. You're suddenly responsible for a lot of people. You are responsible not just for their livelihood, but as their mentor, their teacher. You have to make sure that you're offering them more than just a job. You have to be giving them something that you're taking away. So that is definitely tough. I think working with my partner has quite been an interesting ride. I think earlier when he came back, he used to work in finance. And you met him, and he's a really fun guy, and he used to work in
Yeah.
finance. And we used to have very different schedules. He would get up at 5 in the morning to go be an investment banker, and I would come home at 5 in the morning from Fashion Week. So we barely saw each other. And he always supported what I did. And I must say, so he's the CEO of the company, and a lot of people think that they give me all the credit because it's my name. And he's to his credit, him and my first business partner, Mike Melly, the three of us run the operations. They have to be behind the scenes. But the reason I was able to do this blog at all is when I quit my other jobs and I said, I really want to do this full time. I used to do it as a hobby at night, but I'm not able to do it the way that I want to. But there was no way I was going to make any money doing that. And he was still working in finance. He said, you know what? I can support us for the year. Quit, do it, give it a year, see what happens. And there's been no looking back. So having that kind of support, there's a lot to be said for that, and I think that it takes a great deal of confidence and security in men to be comfortable working in a company that's called their wife's name. Although, ironically, if I was working at mrnaushad.com, nobody would really blink an eye, but they always ask him, oh, how does it feel? It's kind of funny that that's the case. But it's actually really interesting. I mean, obviously, you do argue sometimes and you do end up bringing your work home, but you also are on the same page. You don't end up having that argument where you say, I was busy at work, and the other person says, you don't know how to spend time on the family. You understand the stress and the reasons why you have to work late or work on something, and that helps.
Absolutely. I think I so agree with you. Some of the key takeaways that I could clearly feel from what you shared at this point of time is to let go one thing and to start something. I mean, you didn't try to juggle in between stuff and decide on taking a choice to move forward and to be happy. That was the first, of course. And second being to be able to have the right people associated with you. I mean, of course, Naushad is a life partner and blessed, and he's an amazing soul. I've met personally, so I can say that. But at the same time, the second partner you mentioned, right? And to be able to have the team members who believe in the idea as much as you do, irrespective of the fact that you're female or male, but it's all about the passion and with the vision to go ahead and forward. I think team and the dedication, which is 100%, plays a very important role when you move down the line. As the team grew, right, Malini, as you went ahead and you went further with it, there might be situations where there was a time when you felt like you don't want to do what you're doing, when MissMalini was somewhere at its peak already?
I don't know if it's that I didn't want to do what I was doing. I think it became overwhelming having so many moving parts because I have to do so many different things. And I do really enjoy doing a lot of them. But then there are days you don't want to get up and go to work. It's just the truth for everyone. And, I think that the mistake that people make is saying that if you have a passion, you're going to love it every day. That's not true. Something, that's your passion is something that you want to do or you do every day, even if some days you hate it. So I think that's just, it's there's definitely been times where I'm like, okay, I don't like this part of my job. I don't like managing people. I don't like telling people they're wrong. I have a very quick temper. So I tend to fly off the handle. And these are all things which are not great to be as, the head of a company. So I'm working on all of those things, definitely. But I think the main thing for me has really been trying to find what my skill sets are, what are the things that I'm best at, and trying to focus on those.
I think that's a beautiful one here, because to be able to identify your gaps and filling in with the right people, where you have the CEOs to take care of stuff, and you being the person who is able to get the right media out and the content out for the business, being a creative director yourself, I think that's a wonderful balance. But identifying, so guys, it's important that you identify your strength, but also identify your weakness. As Malini was so candid about it, she didn't even think even for a second that it's on live and she's telling everybody about it. Acceptance is the first step. And I want to really give a huge round of kudos for that, Malini. With this, shall I bring across an audience question? We also have a tribe. We also have a Linkpreneur tribe.
Sure.
So it's a group of people who make sure that you be with us on the show. And let's bring a tribe question. So from the tribe, we have TK Bharat, who shared with us a question specifically for you, where he wanted to know, maintaining a personal brand is kind of really draining. How do you go with the consistency side of it?
Sorry, I lost the question from you. I'm just trying to scroll up. What was it again?
Okay, so the TK Bharat has to say that maintaining a personal brand can be quite challenging and draining because it needs consistency. What are the key tips you got to share with all of us in maintaining that for years now?
Yeah, it is. It can be draining building a personal brand. I think that there's two aspects to it. If you're building a personal brand that allows you to be someone that gets a lot of adulation, that becomes exciting, right? When you become an influencer, that definitely has its ups, so you're very excited about it. But I think that the way to sustain it is you really need to find ways to keep yourself grounded as well. Especially when it comes to social media, and I'm assuming that you're talking about building an individual brand. it can become very overwhelming if you're spending all your time and your entire life online. So find that balance. Find something that keeps you grounded. What keeps me grounded is my friends. I see them socially, or we'll do a Zoom chat and we don't talk about work. We don't think of me as Miss Malini there. I'm just Malini there. So have your real life work too. And aside from that, I think it's important that you remember that you don't have to do everything all at once. Um, the biggest mistake people make when building a personal brand is comparing themselves to other people. There will always be someone who is more successful, who has more, but there will always also be someone who has less and is less successful. So what would you tell that person who's less successful than you? You wouldn't say, well, you're such a loser, look at me, right? You'd say, hang in there, you'll be fine, you'll get there. And you have to tell yourself that, because there's no end to comparison. You can have 10,000 followers and want 10 million. You can have 10 million and want 100 million. It doesn't end. So find satisfaction in your, you being happy with what you've achieved as opposed to comparing what other people have done.
I think the competitiveness is what brings the FOMO as well, which is fear of missing out. And if you are not consistent at the same time, I think thanks for sharing that feedback, where balancing and finding right people to keep you humbled or to keep you grounded and realize where you're going is so important. With this, Malini, let's take the next question.
Sure.
We have Sanya Hawa, who has shared her next question. And she says, hi, Sanya, nice meeting you. So she says, do you think we need to teach kids at school about, teach kids at school about social media and its best practices? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I think that we need to have gender online sensitization. One of the things that we've really done is worked on this campaign called Ignore No More Online, which is a campaign about social media sensitization for people to understand how they need to behave. Very often, a lot of these people who are trolling people or being negative are 14 or 15-year-olds and they don't know better. So just like we teach people languages and we teach them how to drive a car, you wouldn't give somebody car keys and not have taught them. They'll crash. I think it's exactly the same thing. So yeah, Sanya, I think it's absolutely necessary.
Yes, I would just add my 2 cents to it. It's so damn necessary, provided the fact that now 2-year-old has a mobile phone in his hand. He must understand the right usage of it. In the early age, it's easy to put in. And as the time grows, it gets a little more complicated. So yes, if anybody is from the school guys or education industry, we would strongly recommend to introduce it in the schools. Let's look at the next question. We have Srinivas Sri. Hi, Srinivas. He says, how you find your passion, Malini? Could you please elaborate?
Oh, that's such a complicated one, but I think it's ikigai. I think it's finding the answer to this question, which is, what do you love to do? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid to do? And it's not easy to always find that answer, but there's various different ways that you can do it. You have to make a list of the things that excite you, the things you're curious about, the things that, make you want to get up in the morning. And nowadays you can make anything your career. You don't have to stick being to a lawyer, doctor, engineer, right? You can be a shoe designer or a social media ninja. The sky's the limit.
I think, yes, Ikigai is the thing. And with this, Malini, just bringing another question from Geeta, who's a tribe member as well. And she has heard quite a few interviews of yours. And she said in one of the interviews, you mentioned what would be that one thing. Means you were actually asked that if you had one thing that you would do in your life without getting paid, then that would be the thing that you should be doing it without. I mean, that's the passion point. She wants to understand, probably the interview was a little old, and she wants to understand, is it still applicable in today's time, specifically when we're talking about pandemic? And you just spoke about Ikigai. So just how do you like to answer Geeta on this?
What? Sorry, I lost you a little bit there. What part? I got the first part, but what is her question?
Her question is it applicable in the current times? Keeping the pandemic.
Yeah. I think it is. I think that's what you have to do now is just one up your game. I think what's happened now is that the world's needs have changed. So you don't need as many pairs of Havianas to go to the beach, but you need five face masks, So think about what the world needs now. And this is the best time to really think about that question, which maybe something, didn't resonate earlier in your life, but it really does now, and embrace that as something that you would love to do. So think about how you can apply the thing that you love into a situation that will actually be applicable now, right? So people have started so many different enterprises, whether it's delivering gift boxes to people who can't see each other on birthdays because you love celebrations, or helping do things like this where you're running, there's so many apps that have shot up and exploded. Online gaming has exploded. You can find your passion in new places. I think that Generation Alpha is going to have jobs that don't yet exist.
Exactly, you're so right. I think with, of course, Geeta, I think as Malini will describe, it's all about how you find the right thing for yourself and keep doing it. I think automatically you will get everything that you want if it's done with really right energies. With this, Malini, let me quickly ask you a question. Quite active on Instagram, on Facebook, but LinkedIn has been a platform which doesn't see you that much. What are your views here about the platform?
About LinkedIn? I think it's a really great place right now, especially during the pandemic, where they have a very, so many people looking for jobs, so many people out of work, so many people looking to connect. I think LinkedIn is going to make a resurgence. I think a lot of us are guilty of not updating our LinkedIn profiles, but I think this is the time to do that. And I think one of the things I'd encourage people to do is not just look for yourself, see the connections you have. And if you know of a friend who's out of a job, look through your connections and see if you can help someone find something.
A good point. I mean, it's all about referrals. It's all about helping each other, and the community can be bonded so well. Malini, we wish to see you more often on LinkedIn than ever. Yes, that's a quick shout out to you.
Yeah,
But with this, Malini, of course, I would like to understand one thing. Like, if someone who is getting started on the journey with social media, it's starting with the journey of showing up, or through not only with the mindset of influence, but with the mindset of content, and whether it's in the business world or whether it's in a corporate space or individual space, what is the advice that you would like to give them, apart from, of course, not being in the competitive mindset, which you have definitely shared with us and it helps so much, but beyond that, if someone wants to do it, what will be your advice for them?
I think it's important to do your homework. I think learn about the analytics, that's the boring stuff. Maybe some people feel, I like the numbers, but I think it's important to understand the competition, understand the landscape, don't live in your bubble. I always tell people, when you're an influencer or a creator, treat it like you would real life. I think that's the best piece of advice I can give you. Think about how you would do the same thing. Would you go into somebody's house and put up pictures of yourself everywhere and not talk to anyone? Would you hand out your business card at an event and not pick up the phone when people called? Interact, engage, respond. These people who are coming to you are real people. They're not just numbers or a metric. They are human beings who have chosen to spend time with you and your content. Respect that, acknowledge that. You would not ignore someone who came to your house, but we do that so often on our social media.
Exactly. I think treating it like a real life in oneself will bring that authenticity, which you actually mentioned us in the earlier part. Malini, bringing up with almost the final question, being a women entrepreneur, tell us some challenges that you had to face or you had to go through, or was it a smooth ride?
I get this question a lot, and I will never know, because I don't know how to identify which things happened because I was a woman and which didn't. You know what I mean? There might be things that you might typically say, this is very clearly because you're a woman. But there might be situations that could have happened to a guy too. And nowadays you can't tell. So I don't really know how to answer that question. I think that I can say that as an entrepreneur, the challenges have been probably my own insecurity at times, where I might have been in a boardroom with a lot of men where they treated me with respect, but I was not sure they would. There might have been a time, which may not have been necessarily because I was a woman, but I did ask somebody if they would have asked a man this question, where someone who was, Bhaskar Das, actually quite senior in the Z Network, asked me as a joke if how I've resisted the urge to have an extramarital affair with a Bollywood actor, which I thought was extremely inappropriate. And I don't know if he would have asked a guy the same question, but maybe he would have. So I don't know which ones are because I'm a woman. I think that everyone has challenges. I can't say anything overtly has happened to me And I know for sure it was because I was a woman.
That was a beautiful share. I mean, because genuinely, when we bring this feminism and stuff, we tend to forget that what men goes through. And you've beautifully balanced out the both. Great thoughts, Malini. I'm inspired by everything that you've mentioned. With this, are we ready to quickly jump into the next rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, this time let's play something very interesting. We have so many people who are watching us right now. Why not they too play with us?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, let's do it. Let's play the head and the tail round. Very interestingly, I'm not going to ask you to answer it because sometimes you guys are very shy, and I know that. We're going to tell you to take guesses for Malini. Two things, if we share day or night, and you think Malini is going to pick day, then comment in day. And if you think it's going to be night, then comment in night. She's going to hold up the answer for just first 2 seconds and then immediately respond for you guys to comment in. So let's get started, guys. Are you excited?
Let's do it. I'm curious to see what people think.
Okay, awesome. So guys, put in the comment section what do you think of the answer. Let's get started with the heads and the tail round. Okay. Fame or fortune? Guys, what would Malini pick? Write in the comment section. We just give 2 seconds and Malini's going to share the answer. Fame or fortune? It's going to take a while to display us in the back end. No worries. So Malini, you can share us your answer.
Yeah, you want me to tell you what the answer is?
Yeah.
I think it's such a tough one. I think that my first reaction would be fame, because I think fame automatically usually means that you build a fortune, depending on what you're famous for. But I don't know. I think that fame has a very unfortunate definition now. I think I want to be famous for things like the Girl Tribe.
Wow, that's nice. We have already got some interesting answers. And Srinivas, he means fame, of course. It's a typo, so we understand that. Absolutely. Let's look at the next one, which is millennial or Gen X.
So should I answer that? So I'm actually writing this research for my book. I am definitely this micro generation between millennial and Gen X. There is a micro generation that happened, which I think there's a specific year what they were both, because we're the ones who also lived a very strong offline and online life, right? So I used to go to the library to look up things. I didn't have Google or Facebook, and I didn't get my first mobile phone till I was 22. So I don't really have a choice. I'm definitely a Gen X that lives in a millennial world.
Okay, so that was kind of a diplomatic answer. Being a daughter to a diplomat, you're not allowed to do this, but I'll allow you for this one. After this, we get going, and you got to choose one. Okay, difficulty levels are going to increase. Radio jockey or blogger?
Radio jockey, any day.
Okay, radio jockey. That's a nice one. I was expecting otherwise, though. Jazz or hip hop?
Hip hop, for sure. I don't really understand jazz. I need my music to have lyrics.
Okay. West Africa or Greece?
So for me, Greece was beautiful, but I was 9 years old, so I think it was a little lost on me. I'd love to go back, but I would say West Africa because I was there in Abidjan during my high school, and I think high school is always the most memorable and fun time of your life. So I would go back there any day. Unfortunately, I mean, it's pretty war-torn now, but it was beautiful when I lived there.
Okay, that's amazing. Strength or weakness?
Would I rather have strength or weakness? I think I would rather have weakness. I think I would rather have, and I think of weakness as vulnerability.
Okay, yes, absolutely. That's beautiful. Facebook or Twitter?
Instagram.
That's why that option doesn't exist, because we knew the answer any day.
Yeah.
Twitter,
Twitter, I think Facebook, because my Malini's Girl Tribe is a group on Facebook right now. So
absolutely, guys, a quick shout out. So everybody who wants to join the Malini's Girl Tribe, I'm going to put the link in the comment section. Do join in. It's an amazing tribe. I'm a part of it always. I've been a part of it for more than a year plus, I think year and a half. And I've loved every moment I've spent in the tribe. It's an amazing space to be, a safe space to be, specifically to say. So guys, yes, the link in the comment section coming to you soon. Sunny or rainy?
I love rain. I find it very romantic. So rain for sure.
Okay. Passion or purpose?
I think I think passion, because I think that that's my purpose. So I would, but passion is the right answer.
Success or failure?
Success. I mean, who would choose failure?
Work or party?
Party. But luckily, my work is to party sometimes, so I'm winning.
Okay, that's nice. Black or white? Actually, you're wearing
Uh,
white and I'm wearing black. I just
I'm
realized.
wearing both. Yeah, actually, my favorite color is pink, but I guess I would say black.
Okay. Last but not the least, a daughter or a wife?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me if I want to have a daughter. I think wife. Yeah, I think wife.
Oh, that's a beautiful one. I don't mind asking it about your kids as well. That could be the finale question for sure.
So I've always wanted to adopt. Right now, I have adopted a puppy, so that's a step in the right direction. He's sleeping right now. His name is Milo. Um, but yeah, I'd love to adopt. I think that's something that's on the cards. It'll happen when it's meant to happen, and I think that this whole, I always struggled with being a mom and an entrepreneur, and my work has always been my baby. But the great thing about adoption is you don't have that biological clock issue.
Yes, absolutely. I still remember the discussion we had, and I so resonate with it, Malini, and I connect with every single word we shared. With this, of course, we are almost towards the end of the program, and super honored to have you with us. But there's a quick surprise for you. Let me bring in a guest, and he's going to tell you what the surprise is.
All
Hi,
right.
Anand. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi,
Malini. Nice to see you again.
hi. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
So, Malini, Anil is actually known as a 60 seconds guy who is going to share what everything you have said in just 60 seconds.
Oh
Isn't it?
wow, that's amazing. I'd love to hear that.
Oh, that's a tough one, though, of course. But being in sales for last 2 decades plus, 60 seconds is very common with sales guys because that's called as elevator pitch. And as
Yeah.
sales guys, we get that only 60 seconds to go and convince a client and convert to a deal. So for you, my 60 seconds go right away here. You said be effortless in whatever you do. Second thing which you mentioned that it takes time to find your ikigai. So have patience and also at the same time have the passion to do it. You said rather than collecting things, guys, please go out and collect experiences. I think that's more important and valuable. Always focus on how to be a good listener. I also need to learn this, Malini, like the way you said. Find the right people in your influence to keep you grounded in life. I think that's very critical. Biggest mistake in personal branding which people do, which I did at a very initial stage, was comparing yourself to others. So please stop that. And I was doing that similarly when I joined Khushbu and Chetan for this gig, which was Linkedpreneur. I used to always find Khushbu as an influencer. So whenever I used to go ahead and post, I say, oh, Khushbu had got some 140 likes. I only got 60 likes. So why it is? So never compare. I learned that well. Don't fake on social media. Treat it like a real one. And the last one, random things that you can find out is on straightdope.com. Please go ahead and do that. So that's my 60 seconds. And I would like to sum this up in a small quote. The only place where success comes before hard work is in only in dictionary. So guys, you may find Malini to be successful and she's sitting where she is, but there is a lot of hard work which has gone behind. So your first step towards success is hard work.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anil. You have to send me that list. I'm going to use that in the future.
Sure.
I will credit you. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much, Malini, for being on the show with us at Linkedpreneur Stories. I know your schedules have been quite neck to neck, but I really, really deeply appreciate for everything that you've shared with the entire audience and will be, of course, because there's a lot of views that's going to happen later to the program. But thank you so much for being with us. Any closing thoughts from your side?
Well, I just think this is a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I pray for your show to be on Netflix too, and then we can be back to back. I think it's so nice of you to have me. I think that the pandemic has a silver lining. Conversations that we could have had like this during non-lockdown, we didn't think to do, but we do now. So it is bringing us all closer together. So I would tell everyone to take a moment to think about the things that have become the most important to you during the lockdown, and don't forget them when the lockdown ends. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for everyone who's watching us, and thank you so much, Malini, for sharing your closing thoughts. And guys, see you soon next week on Tuesday. Till then, sayonara, bye-bye, tara. But make sure that you take care of this pandemic times the way you should and stay back at home if that's the need of the hour. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.